posted on Truth Social last night, you urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to. Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, they're all Democrats. All I want is for people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower.
In turn for President Trump, he is now encouraging House Republicans to vote this upcoming bill in the House, which would basically compel the Department of Justice to release its files on the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, who died in prison back in 2019. Let me show you the post on Truth Social overnight. The president saying House Republicans should vote to release the files because we have nothing to hide and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetuated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party. Trump added, let's start talking about the party's record-setting achievements and not fall into the Epstein trap, which is actually a curse on the Democrats, not us. Now, the president has repeatedly called this Epstein probe, which has gained steam on Capitol Hill, even in just recent days, a hoax. We heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson over the weekend, who says this is all about politics, not transparency.
Remember, the Biden DOJ had every one of these files in their possession for 4 years, and neither Hakeem Jeffries or Ro Khanna or Thomas Massie or any of them ever said a word about it. President Trump has clean hands. He's not worried about it. I talk to him all the time. He has nothing to do with this. He's frustrated that they're turning it into a political issue, and it's not surprising because the Democrats have nothing else to talk about.
Good morning. In short, so many of my sources close to President Trump, they say the president wants to move on. He's frustrated by all of this. He knows there's a clamor in many parts of the right to get more information about Jeffrey Epstein. At the same time, he feels Republicans should be talking more about the economy, more about his record, more about what he's doing on foreign policy. And this really is about a rift. President Trump and his allies say what he's doing in his administration is all that matters, yet this has been going on for so many years with Epstein, and Republicans aren't ready to shrug it off.
It's remarkable that post-shutdown, the longest in our nation's history, this is the first order of business for Congress. But, Bob, I want to get you...
President Trump is now urging House Republicans to vote yes on a bill that would force his own Justice Department to release all of the Epstein files. And moments ago, telling reporters he would sign the bill into law if it got to his desk. The president's willingness to release the files represents a stunning 180 after months of calling the files a Democratic hoax and attacking members of his own party when they brought up the issue. In a social media post late last night, the president writing, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. The president also warning that Democrats would be implicated after he directed the Justice Department to launch a new investigation. Congressman Ro Khanna, one of the co-sponsors of the resolution to release the files, telling Meet the Press this is not about Trump, while also sharply rebuking him.
If you gave me a choice, I'd rather the president reverse course. I'd rather he release all these files. Someone was saying that his numbers would go up. I don't care if he gets the political win. It's not about Donald Trump. I don't even know how involved Trump was. There are a lot of other people who are involved who have to be held accountable.
Please remember that these are crimes that were committed against real humans, real individuals. This is not a political issue. This has been going on for decades. So many things have happened over the decades that were law enforcement failures in this case. This is not partisan. We're asking for you to stand with us now to release all of the files.
When you look at how long this has spanned, we have to do something about it, of course, and it really is not political. It's never been political for us. We've been saying that, and it seems to be, we scream it from the rooftops, and somehow it still gets politicized.
Tom, the president has not hesitated to make the direct requests of the Justice Department before. So does he actually need this vote for the DOJ to release these files?
No, he doesn't in some respects need this vote in order to make them release the files, nor does the Justice Department, for their matter, need this vote either. They could certainly release some information, as Kelly was referring to that July memo that talked about the fact that they had gone through all of these files and looked at the various names that were in them, certainly did not want to put any files out that had victims' names in there. Also, if there were any photos that may have been of girls that were under the age of 18, they didn't want to put those photos out either, but they said that they would not not be releasing more information on it. So presumably there are more. I can tell you without a doubt there are more files that are out there. It does not necessarily need some sort of executive order for the Justice Department to put some things out. But there are some questions as far as what materials could be covered by the grand jury that would need a judge to sign off. Already this Justice Department has tried that path in order to release some information, and the judges have struck that down. One of the big concerns they have, one of the big concerns traditionally the Justice Department has, Gabe, is those third parties that could be mentioned. You know, I could pick up the phone, call the FBI, tell them information that I believe to be true involving you, for instance, and it may not be true. It's just information I heard. It finds its way into a 302. What if it's not true at all? What if in fact it's investigated, it's not out there? You would be tarred as a result. It seems like a silly example, but it's certainly something that's top of mind for investigators.
Is a stark reversal on an issue that more than any other has seen Trump's own base refuse to go along with him.
This all come down to the Epstein Files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women.
My people want to know who else, if anyone, did Epstein traffic young women to?
Dogs don't bark at parked cars, and we are winning.
In a social media post on Sunday, the president said the House Oversight Committee could have any documents that they're legally entitled to, and then declared in all caps, quote, "I don't care," end quote. Just 3 days prior, he had said that Republicans focused on Epstein were, quote, "soft and foolish." The House vote is expected to come as soon as tomorrow. Even before the president's flip-flop on this, House Republican leaders were bracing for many of their members to support the bill.
President Trump is now encouraging House Republicans to vote yes to release the files related to his case. House GOP leaders are planning to vote tomorrow on legislation that would force the full release of the Justice Department's files on Epstein. In a post last night, the president wrote, quote, "House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democratic hoax." He went on.
I think he's in the clear. Look, when I was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, I was trying to make a deal for him, obviously. And so I said to Epstein, is there anything you can give me about any other people that I could give to the government and maybe get a better deal for you? And I went through a list of names, including Donald Trump's. This was way back in 2000, I don't remember, but early on, 6, 7, 8. And he said, no, there's nothing at all on Donald Trump.
I've just been going through the reports about this, the latest case or the latest dump, Alan. Epstein called Trump borderline insane. But then this was apparently said about you that, quote, Dersh a few feet further from that border, but not by much. So you, in a way, have been brought up in this latest tranche. What can you say about that?
Well, I'm very happy that Epstein has admitted that he hates my guts. He thought I made a terrible deal for him, and he accused me of being insane. He also said I was a terrible lawyer, that the deal was a terrible deal. Look, the more Epstein attacks me, the happier I am. And so he was just mad at me. He didn't think he should go to jail at all. He didn't think he should have to register as a sex offender. He thought I was a terrible, terrible lawyer for making a deal which made him go to jail for 13 months. People thought that was a sweetheart deal. You know, I think it's somewhere in between. It was the best deal we could get, the best deal the government could get. But Epstein was furious. He didn't pay me my fee. I had to threaten to sue him, and we ultimately settled because he was so angry at me. And so people who say, "Oh, you're his best friend," no, that isn't the case. He and I did not get along at all in the last 10 years of his life.
Well, what was your relationship with Epstein like beforehand? I mean, there must have been times when you were working well together.
Well, he was an academic friend. He used to give these seminars at Harvard. He had an office at Harvard, and he would have these seminars where Nobel Prize winners, the person who decoded the genome, famous intellectuals would hold forth. And I would love those lunches and, and go and listen. But the day I found out about the accusations, I switched. I stopped going to those, and I just was his lawyer the way a doctor would be a patient's doctor. I had a professional relationship with him, but my personal relationship really essentially ended once I heard the accusations.